Welcome everyone to another conversation of the Clarity podcast. So today I want to talk to you about this incredible book that I recently discovered. It's called Bias Interrupted. Just check out this book. It's written by Joanne C. Williams, and it says creating inclusion for real and for good. I'll tell you something why I find this book so interesting, and I'm recommending it to you. By the way, before we go ahead, thanks to the Kunzum bookstore for hosting the Clarity podcast and being one of our sponsors of the Clarity podcast. Anyways, now let's come to the book. So let me fundamentally start with one very, very important thing. Look, everything that you are buying in your life, as a consumer, you are a consumer as well, right? You might be a creator, but ultimately you are a consumer of certain things as well, right? Everything that you're buying in life, you are actually not buying a product. Finally, of course, the outcome is that you're buying something or buying a service, but ultimately it's like a check, it's like a tick mark to the bias that is already either in your head or in your heart. That's the reality of life. You are fundamentally confirming your own bias about a certain thing. Let's take an example. Let's just say that that you want to play golf and you want to be really good at golf, right? Now, you would ask a lot of your friends who might be playing golf that what are the best instruments, or which is the best company that would be creating the best instruments or golfing equipment, right? And most of them would say TaylorMade is the company to go for. So what has just happened is you've now gotten a bias seeded into your head about TaylorMade. So chances are extremely high that you would go to a market and get only the TaylorMade golfing equipments. Similarly, when it comes to sound, for example, right? You might just say that I want to hear the best sound, and Marshall are the best possible speakers. So now you have a bias in your head, and you would end up spending whatever money it takes for you to get the best sound out there, right? So fundamentally what you're doing is you are actually confirming your own bias. Similar things happen even in stock markets, right? So as the incredible, intelligent and fascinating gentleman Aswath Damodaran ji says, right, the professor at New York University, he says, when you're investing in stock markets, a lot of people don't really understand whether Amazon stock is good at $50 or whether it is great at $280 or not. What they're fundamentally doing is they're flocking behind so many people who've actually invested into the stock and have hence risen the stock price. So a lot of people fundamentally think that maybe they know something that I don't, and that's sort of the bias that gets created in your head, and you tend to buy into it. So if you are an entrepreneur, a startup founder, or an SMB owner, what you need to really do, just listen to me very carefully. You need to really understand this word called bias. All that you need to do in your marketing communication, is help your customers confirm their existing bias. That's all. Your customers will not break their bias easily. They might, as the world changes. New technology comes in, new experiences will happen, but those experiences will take time, and you don't have all the time to sell. You have sales targets, right? Don't you? You have P&L targets, don't you? You've raised money from venture capitalists, haven't you? Right? So for you to grow faster, sales have to happen. And for sales to happen, what you really need to do is honestly, with honest communication, ensure that your customers, they deeply realize that you care for their bias. That's it. So if the customers really feel that one washing powder is better, a certain brand is better, so there's a bias already created in the customer's head. So if you are that brand, great, build upon that. And if you're not that brand, even then build upon that. Don't build upon the other brand, but build upon the fact that it's the washing powder which is great. Dismiss the other brand, but realize, do not try and break and create a new bias in the customer's head. It takes a lot of time, head or the heart. It takes a lot of time. When I work with startups and entrepreneurs, I always tell them. In fact, I ask them this question: do you even know what biases are there in your customer's head and heart? That's the question that I ask all startup founders all the time. Some startup founders are very clear about it, some are not. The ones who are clear about it, you would actually see them growing because their communication will be so strong. Their communication is something that will make the customers feel that this guy understands me, this brand understands me. It's just nothing but bias confirmation. And for the others, they keep just thinking that if we make 20, 50, 100 posts on social media, we'd be a lot more successful, right? And they just keep investing their time and money on that, which leads them to nowhere. Because that is only spreading more noise, on social media rather than actually spreading clarity, which is what you should be doing, right? Now, what's most important to understand is how to create this bias. Look, bias gets created because of minimalism, because of simplicity, because of clarity. And realize one fact, in the realm of clarity, in the world of clarity, less is more. Less is more. You could repeat after me, less is more. More is not more. More is noise. Less is clarity. Because the customer already has a certain bias in his or her head. All that you need to do is just confirm that bias to them. Now, how do you do that? How do you create that clarity? It's very simple. It's very, very simple. You fundamentally establish that clarity by telling the customer what you are giving to them. So if you are a sari shop, or if you are a children's clothing brand, or if you are an FMCG company, if you're a D2C brand, if you're selling water, if you're selling air, you could be doing anything, right? You could be solving any problem out there in the world. Just don't be jazzy or fancy around in your conversation. Just be very real. This is what I'm giving to you. So if I'm giving to you water, I'm just giving to you water. It's packaged water. I don't have to necessarily put a poster or a sticker around my water bottle and say it's natural water coming in from the Himalayas, which it is not, right? So the most important thing is there is a bias that is there in the customer's head. You just need to confirm it. If you confirm it with sheer honesty and clarity and simplicity and minimalism, you will win. Simple as that. The customer will buy from you. They have the bias established already, right? Now that's the most important thing that I talk about in my Clarity podcasts. In fact, if you want to learn a lot more about bias, of course, you should definitely subscribe to the Clarity podcast on YouTube. Just go on, search for the Clarity podcast on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. I am speaking with so many fascinating people from across the world. These are entrepreneurs, they are war veterans, they are teachers. They are some of the finest people that I at least can reach out to in the world. And I'm really trying to understand from them in their journey how they've really built clarity around the work that they're doing, and how are they really shaping the future with their work, and what kind of biases have they seen in their customers or in the world around them that they are actually helping confirm a lot more. If you want to be in conversations with such people, if you want to really learn from such people, come meet me at the Clarity podcast. Some of the Clarity podcasts will actually be hosted for free on YouTube. Right now, we're actually just keeping them free. Of course, if we get more investors, more incredible people to crowdfund the Clarity podcast, we will keep it free. Otherwise, of course, at a certain point of time, maybe in our journey, we will actually make this content paid content and ensure that only the most meaningful people really get to make something and to create something of this content. All right, on that note, I wish you all the health of the world and more clarity to you. Thank you so much for joining in this one-on-one conversation of the Clarity podcast. Wherever that you're watching this video, leave me comments and tell me more about what would you want to talk about. And also, if you know of some amazing investors, amazing entrepreneurs, and amazing set of people that have great clarity in life, please do introduce them to me. I would be happy to help the Clarity podcast, of course, by getting them on board and curating great quality sessions with them, and of course, to spread clarity in the world. Thank you so much once again. More clarity to you.